Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local. Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 109 of the Near Memo with David, Mike, and Greg, and we're talking about all things local, search, social, and commerce. Today we are going to be talking about OLAs. Mike will get into what that is in a moment. And then David and I will be discussing Bard and local SEO on Bard and kind of the outlook for the future, because we had some interesting interactions around that yesterday, and there's been some interesting recent discussion about that. So, Mike, let's lead off with you and OLAs. What are OLAs, and why should we care?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure you should care. It's up to you whether you care or not. OLAs are a new ad type that it's been formally released by Google. They've been sort of in the wild. I think you first wrote about them way back 2020 when you were still at Search Engine Land. These are ads that appear on the business profile for local businesses, whether you get to them through a 3-pack keyword search or we get to them through a brand search, doesn't matter. These are ads that are independent of the business. They can be placed by approved businesses, approved listers. Google has some sort of whitelist to get into this program. They just released a help file on this a couple weeks ago, and the program became public a couple weeks ago. And it's an ad where, for example, we saw these before, where Groupon can advertise against events or tickets, or Michelin can advertise specific tires against tire dealers, or hair product company could advertise hair products against salons that carry their products.
Or the one that we first encountered this with, which was Matt LaQuesta pointed out, DoorDash running ads on merchants who hadn't even opted into DoorDash, and they didn't even officially support DoorDash.
Right. And so these are interesting to me in a number of ways. Firstly, as a way of targeting, of expanding their local targeting down to the brand, and below that with the ad to product level. So it's a type of contextual targeting based on location, which is very granular. I mean, if somebody's looking for a hair salon near me, there's only going to be 3 or 4 places, and one of those or 2 of those could have an ad for a specific type of hair treatment, whatever.
Greg is our resident cosmetology expert here, so
or not, as the case may be. Just a quick interjection there. If it's a salon and there's a hair care product in particular, is there any validation of the fact that it's carried in that particular salon, right? Whether it's carried or not, or is it just an awareness? It becomes just kind of an awareness thing in that context. If they don't have it, how are they going to know if that salon has that hair care product?
It says landing pages should be relevant to feed items for any business entity. Landing page location should match the feed location. I don't know. Images should be unique per feed. It's not clear exactly, although obviously in the case of DoorDash or Groupon, the business has to be participating with that company. And it does seem to be offer related. It doesn't seem to be general advertising related. It's interesting. So it's interesting on one level, that targeting. It's also interesting because businesses that upon which it shows have virtually no control over it. At least in the food business now, you can tell Google through the Google Business Profile to remove this. But in all the other categories in which this might appear, you have to opt out of the program at the original vendor that's running the ad to get taken off the ad. So there is some participation required, I guess, to answer your question, Greg. In other words, to get out of it, you have to go back to Groupon and say, I don't want to be in this program. I mean, the problem with it is that it puts businesses upon whose page it appears in this very awkward position of being literally forced to either carry this product at the discount stated or to eat profit on a sale that would have normally been a full profit sale. And so it really, from a business point of view, sucks terribly because of the lack of control, and there's no way to opt out easily from the obvious place. I mean, how would a business know that they'd have to go back to Groupon to opt out of Groupon? They wouldn't know that, and they wouldn't even know why they're getting so many Groupon sales. All of a sudden, their profit plummets, and they've got 10 times as many Groupon sales because Groupon is leveraging the popularity of the profile. So it's interesting in a million ways, from everything from the way it's leveraging contextual targeting at a very granular level, all the way to the pain that businesses are likely to suffer as a result. It is not clear how you become what Google calls allow listed. Strange word, but obviously they're looking.
What's that word? Spell that word.
Allow listed. It's one word.
ALLOW listed.
Listed, all mushed together.
Allow listed.
Allow listed. Yes, that's the business. So one presumes it's volume based. You must be willing to place it against 6,000 or 8,000 locations or whatever. But they provide data down to the location level, so you can tune it. You can also customize feeds at scale. So you can put one message in one market and a different message in a different market. And you can categorize these. So you could categorize Chicago and New York and do different
offers in different markets.
Different offers in different markets, et cetera. And so one, it's interesting it took 2 years for it to come out. Two, it's interesting that it's out. There's finally a help file. It's finally public. But how do you become allow listed? I still don't know. And I just think it's really problematic ad group. We criticize Facebook for targeting individuals here. I think Google deserves equal or greater criticism for targeting individual businesses.
Yeah. One more absolute slap in the face reminder that your Google business profile is not your Google business profile. It is Google's. So,
right.
Well, and does Yelp
You can pay Yelp to prevent competitive ads from showing on your profile.
That was going to be my question. That's right. But this is not. I mean, these are not competitive ads per se. But could they be?
You could, if you are working with a participating allow listed agent and have enough scale to engage in the program. Could you get these? You could, one presumes, bid on that space, but I think it's competitive bidding. So I don't think you can just say, I want to be there instead of Groupon. And leverages smart bidding. So,
and this is not for small businesses. This is for scaled national brands that are targeting locally, multi-location brands or whatever. What about us?
Well, it is for them, but it's also for multi-location products.
Right.
It's not even a brand.
Like the hair care product, right? Like Paul, I don't mean this is a bad example, but like Paul Mitchell, right? They don't have to have Paul Mitchell salons. They can advertise Paul Mitchell products in independent salons. So,
which is an interesting sort of CPG play. Groupon isn't CPG, but I mean, hypothetically, you could have national brands that are sold locally but don't have any physical location participate in this, and sort of localizing the brand accordingly. Yep. So that's an interesting dimension of it. Is the following scenario possible with this, where you've got, let's say, a car dealer? I mean, I don't know if this is even appropriate, but you've got a Ford dealer who's advertising on local Toyota knowledge panels or profile. Is that a scenario that this
one would hope that that's part of the allow list review, but
yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if they did allow it, then certainly a Toyota would be very motivated. I mean, it's no different. Yeah. It's no different than advertising on a brand name Toyota.
Yeah,
that if you're Ford, and that's allowed as long as you don't make unfair comparisons.
Well, I mean, this goes back to some degree to the idea of kind of consumer confusion. If people are searching for brand X and they get brand Y, you can't use you can't appear to be brand Y. Mm-hmm. This was the issue with
unless you're Yelp on Bing.
That's a different question.
If you're not,
well, this was the issue with the I think it was Warby Parker and there was another
1-800 contacts,
right, and so there's the idea of this other company, my competitor, is trying to appear to be me and confuse people. You can bid on brand terms behind the scenes, but you can't use
their trademark in your ad.
Right.
Yeah. You can use the trademark if the landing page actually does a comparison and you mention the trademark term you're showing. If you're not, if it's just going to your page, then
if there's intent to deceive, that's where you run into problems. But that's not necessarily an issue with these ads. This is a sort of a tangent. So Mike, I sense that you might be wanting to write a longer feature article on this topic.
Well, the problem is I would if I could get access to information about it. I don't even know who to talk to about the product and and where it's showing currently.
Well, what about
we know it was rolled out in Europe,
Yeah.
But I don't know who here, who in the United States has it. I'd like to see it in play, and I'd like to hear from businesses upon which it's being placed, or businesses that are placing it, see what kind of performance.
Well, it's pretty challenging probably to find those folks. I mean, you could.
It might be, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm putting the word out here. So if you know of anybody, let me know.
Our legion of followers will let us know if they've been affected.
We could go directly to the Google, press at Google. I mean, I haven't pinged that email in years now.
Sure, let's do that.
Let's see what they say.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.